Tonight, a harrowing experience in a long-term care facility ravaged by COVID-19.
We walked into real mayhem. It was really difficult to see.
How residents' families stepped in to help. Preparing for a surge in cases. How Canada plans to protect the most vulnerable.
We are preparing for every eventuality.
Should people be making cloth masks? We'll be putting that and more of your questions to our doctors. Plus, Germany has a lower fatality rate than most.
I think we saw a much bigger tip of the iceberg than other countries, as Italy, for example.
What they're doing differently. This is The National. As Canadians know full well by now, we are all vulnerable to COVID-19. News today about a growth in so-called community spread drives that home, as does the latest from the world's hotspots. We'll get to that, but let's start tonight where the Prime Minister started this morning, with those especially vulnerable, to whom Justin Trudeau spoke directly, seniors and children.
You're watching the world you know change radically. It's a source of anxiety, it's a source of tension. Maybe there's extra tension in your family. But there are people who can help.
And with that, he announced two initiatives, $7.5 million to Kids Help Phone to hire more counselors, and $9 million for the United Way to ensure vulnerable seniors get food and medication at home. Of course, many seniors don't live at home. They live in long-term care homes. Nearly 4 in 10 COVID-19 deaths in Canada have been connected to seniors' facilities, including the first in North Vancouver. Others died there soon after. May McHale knows all about it. Her mother was one of them, and she spoke to David Common.
If there is any doubt about the speed of COVID infection, consider how calm things were just a month ago at Lynn Valley Care Home. One of its residents, 94-year-old Isabel McHale, an adventurer born in Egypt, immigrating to Alberta, even moving to Vancouver in her 70s. Here, she was in her final chapter.
She did really well. She settled in and kind of made a new life here.
But 8 blocks away, one of her 2 daughters, a regular visitor to the care home, was in for a shock once COVID arrived.
We walked into real mayhem. It was really difficult to see. There were hardly any staff members there. I think there were 2 or 3 that showed up to work. 6 p.m., my mother was still in bed.
May McHale recounts to us how one after another, residents would test positive, then staff, 21 of them, leaving the facility short. Her mother, unseen.
Her lunch was on her bedside table. She's not able to feed herself. Her pad had not been changed all day. She was shivering and cold. There were 5 or 6 daughters who banded together, and we supported one another and some of their parents.
Taking precautions between rooms and relying on a small number of staff diverted from elsewhere.
I want to acknowledge those that did come in and did work double shifts, 4 or 5 in a row. Amazing people in there that work tirelessly day in, day out through this, and are still looking after people.
But not Isabel. She is among at least 10 to die at the home. May's mother most enjoyed gathering family and friends in the kitchen. But now, even a normal funeral isn't possible. May is self-isolating, though tests have shown she is herself not infected, just mourning. David Common, CBC News, Toronto.
Hundreds have been hospitalized by the virus across the country, and that includes many seniors, but also Canadians of all ages. Ashley Burke shows us how the country is preparing itself for a potential surge in serious cases.
This is not a normal part of the healthcare system, but these aren't normal times.
In TB area?
This community center's been turned into a makeshift isolation center, a place for homeless people acutely at risk.
It's not possible to create physical distancing in the shelters as they currently are, and it's certainly not possible to allow people to isolate in the shelters.
It's happening across the country.
We are preparing for every eventuality.
Piece by piece, Canada is readying itself for a worst-case scenario, a potential surge of COVID-19 cases.
It is appropriate and necessary that we look at how to expand our health system to handle unprecedented numbers in an unprecedented crisis.
Across the country, provinces and territories are preparing.
Local governments are being asked to identify and make available any publicly owned facility that may be used for pandemic response, including facilities for self-isolation, medical care, and testing.
Hospitals in Quebec are freeing up beds by using empty hotels to house patients with other conditions. Ontario's considering treating people in heated warehouses and garages if hospitals become overwhelmed. And Edmonton's already using its expo center as a drop-in for homeless people and considering using recreation centers as field hospitals.
We've seen horrifying accounts of, ice rinks converted to morgues in Spain, and we all want to avoid and stay ahead of that.
The advantage for Canada is that it has time to prepare and living examples to learn from of worst-case scenarios unfolding in other areas of the world. This week could be key. It's the first time Canada could see the effect of so many snowbirds and spring breakers traveling home, and if they actually listened to public health advice. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
In Canada, the days when confirmed COVID-19 cases came mostly from outside the country are, at least for now, over. Total known cases in the country tonight, at least 6,320. Government figures released this weekend suggest that about 65% of Canada's cases are from what's called community transmission, caught here, not linked to travel. And of the cases from the past week, community transmission represents 90%. Talia Ricci explains how those numbers are based on infections that occurred up to 2 weeks ago. What the virus is doing now and how successful we are in fighting it will take days to come into focus.
Just not being able to breathe, the amount of pressure in my chest.
Erin Lee is recovering from the virus in a Calgary hospital. She didn't travel.
And I don't know anyone that has tested positive for COVID.
Experts say community spread in all regions of Canada is likely sooner or later.
I'm certainly watching very closely what's happening in Quebec and Ontario in particular, but also Alberta, of course.
Manitoba and Nova Scotia health officials aren't seeing community spread yet.
At this time, no cases show clear evidence of community spread. But we all need to be prepared that this will happen and may be happening right now.
Because the data coming in isn't in real time.
My suspicion is that it's probably happening everywhere. A lot of the people who've been studying this feel that it actually has probably been going on for a while, but we just weren't able to confirm it.
It's unclear exactly how widespread COVID-19 is. Officials in Toronto at least confirm they are still investigating every case and tracking contact with infected individuals. But we're still days away from knowing how much these empty streets have slowed the spread.
We know that this virus can take up to 14 days to present itself, and we're certainly not 14 days in to a really aggressive social distancing measures. So some of the changes we're seeing in the data may predate our recent efforts.
He says numbers coming in this week will be telling. For now, a plea from a patient.
I would beg that people please do listen to what the government is asking us to do and stop the spread, since one person can infect so many people.
Talia Ricci, CBC News, Toronto.
So this is a big country and the pandemic is developing differently depending on where you live. Leanne Young is looking at what's happening in communities across Canada tonight.
Ian, some developing news to start. A major oil refinery in Newfoundland and Labrador is shutting down. To keep staff safe, the Come By Chance refinery is sending the bulk of its employees home, only keeping enough people to maintain storage services. And in Quebec, some encouraging signs. Officials say the number of new cases there appears to be stabilizing.
What is happening is that we are extending the curve that we projected. Actually, we are under. Okay? We have not still attained the plateau.
The province saw 342 new cases today. It's 14% more than yesterday, but last week's daily increases averaged more than 20%. And in Ontario, 8 firefighters have tested positive for the virus. The Toronto Firefighters Union says 200 of its members are in self-isolation, either from possible exposure or travel. But they say contingency plans are in place, so it won't affect service. And checkpoints are going up at a Southern Ontario First Nation after 2 people from the 6 nations of the Grand River Reserve tested positive. They are in self-isolation. Meanwhile, in Nova Scotia, authorities are getting very frustrated.
I'm hearing stories of grocery stores packed with people, groups out playing sports. You are the reckless few. Your fellow Nova Scotians are upset with you. We've had it.
That's Premier Stephen McNeil scolding the few people in his province who still aren't listening. He's asked police to step up enforcement. Violators could have their vehicles towed and be fined $1,000. Ian?
All right, Leanne, thank you. Those public tributes we've seen to healthcare workers around the world have been embraced by people here in Canada. Tina Lovegreen shows us the new nightly ritual in Vancouver and how it's being received in the province's biggest hospital.
A daily show of appreciation, getting louder by the day. A city saying thank you to frontline workers. It started in Vancouver's West End with just a few lone clappers.
People thought we were a little crazy and were closing their windows and doors. But then by the second night, it sort of really got rolling.
And now, blaring sirens have become a ritual at 7 p.m.
But it's for all essential workers. It's for our janitors. It's for our grocery store clerks, our food workers.
This is incredible.
The message well received by nurses and doctors.
It's incredible. It gives us so much inspiration, so much joy, and the ability to keep going.
But they warn this is just the beginning.
We have not peaked, and we don't know when we will peak.
In BC, 64% of those hospitalized are in ICU. So far, hospitals like Vancouver General are coping.
Who's the sickest patient needs to go?
But images from New York and Italy are terrifying.
We're not there. We don't want to be there. But there's certainly a sense of stress and anxiety that's around right now. And definitely we're seeing the cases, and it is pushing our current infrastructure for sure.
Hospitals are preparing, opening up beds and changing protocols.
Flow within units is very different, so there's some cohorting or putting patients together and providing that extra barrier or safety.
So we have put precautions in place to protect ourselves and other patients by wearing a mask for the whole shift.
The emotional stress, perhaps the most taxing part of it all.
We do our jobs, we know how to do it well, we've been trained in this, we went to school for this, but now it's just like navigating emotions.
So while the cheers help lift spirits, doing your part by staying apart might just be the best way to say thanks. Tina Lovegreen, CBC News, Vancouver.
Just days ago, Donald Trump hoped to have churches full for Easter services, but tonight he's predicting that will be the peak of the pandemic. So he's extended physical distancing guidelines to the end of April. The number of American coronavirus cases is approaching 140,000, with more than 2,400 lives lost. But a member of the coronavirus task force says there could be between 100 and 200,000 deaths in the United States. Here's Paul Hunter.
Ever since he floated the idea of easing White House guidelines on social distancing so as to restart the U.S. economy, Donald Trump had taken fire. Tonight, a step back.
We will be extending our guidelines to April 30th to slow the spread.
The guidelines, which have encouraged people to stay home to socially distance themselves, were set to expire Tuesday. But with the economic price of a country at a standstill, Trump had suggested maybe ending that advice by Easter.
That was an aspirational number. I didn't say Easter. I said it would be a great thing if we could do it by Easter. And we know much more now than we knew 2-3 weeks ago.
But as the U.S. grappled with the still out-of-control spread of the virus, as Trump considered his next step, Trump's medical experts gave him some staggering numbers. Their best guess on how many Americans will die even if they do everything right?
It's anywhere in the model between 80,000 and 160,000, maybe even potentially 200,000 people succumbing to this. That's with mitigation.
But if, for example, social distancing were to be curtailed, those numbers could skyrocket.
Anywhere between 1.6 and 2.2 million fatalities if we didn't mitigate.
And in the end, Trump listened.
The decision to not prolong, but to extend this mitigation process until the end of April, I think was a wise and prudent decision.
Meanwhile, it still spreads. Just this weekend outside Washington, D.C., word of another nursing home and dozens of elderly residents now testing positive, with one dead already.
Trump's corona experts underlined a brutal time lies ahead, but they also said social distancing is helping. And tonight's decision to extend the guidelines on that could well save hundreds of thousands of lives. Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
There's another possibly dangerous consequence emerging in the U.S. Asian Americans are worried about discrimination as a result of COVID-19. And as Katie Simpson explains, that fear has some preparing to defend themselves.
In times of crisis, you can count on American gun shops to be busy.
Right now, we're clocking about 300% more than normal.
The co-owner of this store in suburban Maryland says he's sold 250,000 rounds of ammo and nearly all of his guns in a month, with a noticeable uptick in sales, he says, to Asian American customers.
They're just afraid, whether it's to protect their families or from backlash against anti-Chinese sentiment.
I'm part of a community that's living in fear. We're just living in fear.
Chil Kong runs a theater not far from the gun shop. He says the coronavirus outbreak has triggered anti-Asian sentiment. There are widespread reports and documented cases of racist incidents, shouting, spitting, and threats of violence.
The biggest thing is really subtle, which is all these dirty looks that we've been getting. And it comes to this point of, like, it reminds us that we never really belonged here.
In part, Kong blames the U.S. president for this emerging trend.
And we continue our relentless effort to defeat the Chinese virus.
When you hear him say that, what does it make you think?
Just ignorant.
This father of two says he's not experienced any corona backlash, but is afraid for his safety, so he bought a gun.
And I think I should have one just to peace of mind, to protect my families, because there are so many uncertainties going on.
Trump may no longer be saying Chinese virus, but members of his administration continue to push the sentiment. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo brought a G7 meeting to a halt when he insisted fellow foreign ministers call it Wuhan virus in a joint statement. The idea was flatly rejected. Katie Simpson, CBC News, Washington.
Anxiety continues to spread outside the United States, too. Britain warns isolation protocols might last 6 months, while Iran fears international sanctions are crippling its COVID-19 relief efforts. Here's a quick look at the global situation, starting with tragedy in the Philippines. A Philippines air ambulance plane believed to be flying a COVID-19 patient to Japan exploded during takeoff in Manila today, killing all 8 people on board, including a Canadian. 3 medical workers were among the victims. Some good news in hard-hit Spain, where much-needed medical equipment continues to arrive, just as other planes head to China to bring back more. While in Naples, Italy, priests delivered Mass from the safety of the rooftops. And 200 kilometers away in normally bustling Rome, virtual silence. Hardly surprising, Italian authorities are now using helicopters to enforce quarantine. It's far from quiet in India, though. Huge numbers of migrant workers now scramble to get home any way they can after a mandatory lockdown announcement. It's not going well. But in the first epicenter of this crisis, cautious signs of normal life returning as travel in and out of Hubei province resumes. Hospitals across the country are getting ready in case there's a surge of COVID-19 cases. Next on The National, the race to get doctors and nurses the protective equipment they need in time. And your questions, including, are homemade masks safe? Plus, keeping families healthy by keeping them apart. The difficult decision to lock down long-term care centers. And you wouldn't believe what you can do from home these days.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
We're back right after this. Welcome back to a regular feature I know a lot of people look forward to, where we have doctors answering your questions. And tonight we're joined by Dr. Isaac Bogosh, an infectious disease specialist in Toronto with the University Health Network, and Dr. Michael Curry, emergency room physician at Delta Hospital just outside Vancouver. And Dr. Bogosh, let's start with a question to you from a viewer who says that I have an elderly relative who lives on her own and needs my assistance. How do I safely visit to help with her needs?
Yeah, that's a very challenging situation because we're told to spread apart and keep our distance. We're also aware that the elderly are certainly the most vulnerable population amongst us, and we need to do everything we can to prevent them from getting infected. But of course, some people live alone and truly need help. So this is where someone needs to be extremely careful when they're entering that house. Impeccable hand hygiene, it's crucial. And of course, do not go into that house if you're feeling any symptoms whatsoever. It's important to have someone else go into the house to assist if you feel unwell.
Great, clear advice. Thank you. Let's go to Dr. Curry now. And here's a question from a viewer who says that I'm making cloth masks for people in my community who work in essential businesses. Is this a good idea?
It's heartwarming to hear that, and it seems like a good idea, but the evidence is at best mixed on whether masks help to prevent people in the general population from getting well. And those studies are based on using masks that are professionally fabricated with special filtration material. It's a bit different in healthcare. When I'm at work, I've got people coughing in my face all day long. But for the general population, there's a suggestion people actually spend more time fiddling with the masks and touching their face, and that it actually might even lead to higher rates of infection. So for right now, it seems like a great idea. However, I don't think the evidence really supports that for the general population. In countries where you see people wearing masks, it's not to prevent healthy people from getting sick, but it's to prevent sick people from infecting others. And with COVID-19, if you're sick, don't wear a mask, stay home.
Yeah, and I don't know your guys' experience, but I got to tell you, walking around in Vancouver, increasing number of people wearing all kinds of masks, from professional ones to what look like homemade ones. Let's go on to the next question now to Dr. Bogosh. When a person infected with COVID-19 speaks or exhales, how long does the virus stay in the surrounding air?
That's a great question. We're hearing this one a lot. Luckily, these are large droplets. They fall to the ground or to the surface around wherever someone's coughing or sneezing or breathing very, very quickly. They do not stay suspended in the air for very long. So they'll contaminate the surfaces around a person rather quickly, but they're not going to be floating around in the air for people to catch, minutes or hours later.
Yeah, but let me ask a follow-up question. Like, keeping in mind the 2 meter, 6 foot rule, if you're on a city street and you're walking by somebody, what is the infection risk there?
It's extraordinarily small. Certainly, obviously, we have to avoid situations where people are very close to each other. And of course, we have to have good cough or sneeze hygiene, where we cough or sneeze into our arm, not into the air or around us. But, for very small periods of time when people are passing each other on the street or cycling past each other, the risk would be extraordinarily small.
I said this last week. We have more questions, but we've run out of time. But I know Andrew and Adrian will be listening to questions and answers tomorrow as well. We ask your COVID-19 questions every night, so send them to us. You can message us directly on Instagram at CBC The National, or you can send us an email at covid@cbc.ca. Those masks are just part of the personal protective equipment that healthcare workers need. And Canadians are helping out. Industries have pivoted production, websites making specific recommendations, and communities are stepping up. A drive in Hamilton included donations from a tattoo shop, netting more than 13,000 items. And tonight, news of a donation from a country Canada is badly at odds with. Angelina King has that.
We have gowns in here. We have goggles in here. Masks are over here.
Packed in these boxes, 30,000 surgical masks, 50,000 pairs of gloves, and thousands of goggles and gowns, all coming from China.
It arrived quickly, and the need is right now. So it's going to make a real difference.
The donation comes from the Bank of China through an Ontario-based nonprofit medical group which works closely with health workers in China.
There's more boxes of gowns.
At the beginning of the month, the Bethune Medical Development Association of Canada made a similar donation to hospitals in Wuhan. Now the favor's returned.
it's extremely helpful, but it still is a band-aid solution. And really the key thing here is figuring out the supply chain, not just for the next week to month, but also for the foreseeable future.
Today, the Prime Minister said donations from China must meet Canadian standards and that the world should be working together.
It is a global pandemic, and countries need to set aside their differences.
Over the next 2 days, the supplies will be delivered to at least 5 hospitals. The association says they'll be distributed as equally as possible based on what's needed the most and where.
We can't wait in terms of times to protect the frontline workers in healthcare.
The Medical Association here says more deliveries like this one are expected next week from China, including 30,095 masks. Angelina King, CBC News, Markham, Ontario.
Still ahead on the national, what's Germany doing right? The country has significantly fewer COVID-related deaths than its neighbors, so what can we learn? Plus, a unifying message of hope takes over Quebec. It's going to be okay. But first,
Gentlemen, start your engines!
this may sound like the start to any regular NASCAR Sunday, but this is NASCAR's new normal. For second weekend in a row, a remote anthem.
Oh, say, can you see?
Horse replicas and, well, virtual racing or iRacing. Fan favorites will still be behind the wheel, except now they're doing it from their homes.
We're all in this together. Again, looking forward to next week, boys.
Among the many questions that swirl around the COVID-19 pandemic is how deadly the virus is. Depending on where you look, the answer seems to vary widely. In Europe, Italy, Spain, and Germany all have huge outbreaks with tens of thousands of cases. In Italy, the toll is horrifying, more than 10,000 dead. In Spain, deaths continue to surge to more than 6,800. But in Germany, the death toll is about 500. So why has Germany faced a dramatically lower death rate than its neighbors? Terence McKenna found some answers.
The COVID-19 outbreak came to Germany on January 19th, when a businesswoman from Shanghai arrived for 2 days of meetings near Munich with her German partners. After she was diagnosed a few days later, her contacts were quickly traced and tested, and the first cluster of infected Germans was identified and isolated. Dr. Uwe Janssens leads the German Intensive Care and Emergency Medicine Association.
And she infected this man infected 5 others, and in the end we had 16 patients, and then nothing happened more.
Then came spring break, when many German and Italian students make their way to the alpine villages of Austria to go skiing. It turns out there was one super spreader in the town of Ischigo, a bartender who thought he had a cold but was not ill enough to skip work. He infected hundreds of young people, including many Germans. Martin Sturmer is a German biochemist who was himself caught up in the epidemic.
Yeah, we've been to Austria for skiing, and 2 days before we left our holidays, we got a message that the complete region of Tyrol is called the risk area. And when we came back, because my wife and I, we work for a medical lab, and they said, before you come back to the lab, you have to be in quarantine, and we will have to do a test. And so we did a test, and it was positive.
He just kept going to work. I guess he didn't feel sick enough to stay at home.
Yilmaz Gulum reports for Austrian Public Broadcasting.
There was not yet an understanding of what could happen. Up to 50% of people who have the virus don't show any symptoms at all, and a very large number of people show only very, very mild symptoms. Now, it depends on the capacity of a country to test. How many people can a country test per day to isolate the people that are infected, to isolate them from the rest of us?
Chancellor Angela Merkel, a scientist by profession, was the first Western leader to take action about COVID-19. She estimated that up to 70% of the German population could contract the virus.
That was the first time that for me, my perception of the whole situation changed. And when she said up to 70%, I just made a quick calculation in my head that if 1% of infected people die, which was at the time the assumed fatality rate, but all right, 70% of Germany and 1% dies, that means roughly 500,000 people will die in Germany. And that was for me like, whoa. This is not just the flu. This will change a lot of things for a long time.
Germany quickly began developing thousands of test kits, far more than any other Western country. Germany has ramped up quickly and is now testing 500,000 people per week.
For instance, everybody coming from Italy or from skiing or from the risk area in Italy, he was isolated and was tested, and everybody surrounding the family was isolated. So I think at the moment, this led to the point that we don't have so many old people getting infected.
So if you look at our overall positively tested population, you see many younger people below at the age of 60, which have been tested positive, and therefore we have not so much severe ill people in our population, in our testing population.
And everyone just started to test, to establish the test as soon as the sequence.
Melanie Brinkman is a German virologist.
And I think that's the big advantage we had. And I like to compare it to an iceberg. So I think we saw a much bigger tip of the iceberg than other countries, as Italy, for example. And I think we have gained a lot of time. and now had time to prepare the hospitals for the patients that will come eventually.
Once the wave of infection arrives, Germany will be far better prepared than other Western countries to handle it. For example, Germany has invested in a greater per capita proportion of intensive care beds and ventilators, almost 3 times as many as Canada.
In Germany, there are a lot of hospital beds per capita and a lot of ICU beds per capita. For example, in Germany, we have 34 ICU beds per 100,000 inhabitants. That's a lot. For comparison, in Italy, we have 8.4 per 100,000. And so this is fourth the times, we have fourth the times of beds. So I think we can handle this situation a little bit better than the Italian people do.
Many German experts feel that the country's low fatality rate of COVID-19 patients has a lot to do with the relatively low number of serious cases they are dealing with, but that could change. Dr. Karl Lauterbach is an epidemiologist and member of the German parliament.
I think that the tidal wave is coming, and we will see, let's say, a sharp increase in both the number of infected people and also the number of, let's say, people having severe disease and people dying, unfortunately. So that will happen. But I do assume that we will not get close to the numbers, I hope at least, that we unfortunately currently observe in France, Spain, or Italy.
So I was lucky at the end, and yeah. But I think it hasn't changed my point or my view on the complete epidemic. We should respect the virus, should respect the illness, but we don't have to be at the panic mode and don't have to fear this infection.
Right now, Germany has many fewer COVID-19 deaths per capita compared to their neighbors. Almost 7 times fewer than France, 30 times fewer than Spain, 35 times fewer than Italy. But experts here insist that does not lead to overconfidence.
We are not becoming overconfident at all. We are very well aware that in a couple of weeks we may be in big trouble.
In the town of Menden, a symbol of Germany's determination to win the battle against this virus, this school gym has been outfitted to receive anyone who is caught disobeying quarantine restrictions.
Beratschlagen und wenn alle der Meinung sind.
First Alderman Sebastian Arlt says the forcible confinement will be accomplished, if necessary, with the help of the police.
Unterstützung der Polizei durchsetzen.
Germany has given the world a positive lesson in how to deal with this pandemic. Terence McKenna, CBC News, Toronto.
Next on The National, finding ways to be together when being apart is so hard.
Every day's getting worse and worse and worse.
Every moment is precious for those in long-term care. Next, how families are coping while being separated. But first. Church bells rang across Quebec in unison today, a symbol of togetherness during this period apart. But it's not the only way the province is spreading hope. Inspired by rainbow artwork seen in Italy during the crisis, Quebecers are making their own with the same simple message.
Ça va bien aller.
It's going to be okay.
Ça va bien aller, si on pense à se protéger.
On windows and on sidewalks, kids are getting creative. Their gesture echoed in hospitals and at the airport, even on clothing lines and baked goods. And tonight, this, a sign of a community sticking together.
Our seniors are particularly vulnerable to COVID-19. We all know that, and it's for them that so many of us are staying home, are self-isolating, are following the rules.
The Prime Minister speaking today while announcing $9 million in new funding to help local organizations deliver groceries and medication to isolated seniors. But as so many Canadian families know very well, many seniors live in care facilities. Measures to minimize their risk to exposure of COVID-19 are keeping them from an important social sustenance, close contact with loved ones. Ioana Remiliotis reached out to families she's interviewed before.
I want to give them that moment of happiness, at least for them to forget about sort of this whole crisis that's happening.
Vera Zniewski has played for her grandmother since she was a child. It's always been about bringing her joy, now more than ever.
She kind of understands a little bit what's going on. Obviously, she understands the safety that is involved with this, but at the same time, I hear her crying on the phone that she misses us, and for them to try to explain to them what quarantine means, even social distancing, they're sort of aware of what it is, but they don't really understand because they've never experienced something like this before.
This is an extraordinary act of love, and while the precautions behind it are necessary, they're heartbreaking too, isolating the most vulnerable.
This has been sheer hell, really. I don't know if he can...
The thought that her husband is looking for her and can't find her. From a distance and from a device, Martha Farnell tells us it's tearing her apart.
He must be looking for me because he always did. He was always looking to see if I'm coming, if I'm going to be there. So I often wonder what must go through his mind when he doesn't see me, he can't see me, he can't hear me.
Before COVID-19, Martha spent hours by her husband Willard's side. He has advanced dementia and lives in a long-term care home. His agitation eases when she's nearby. But the last time she saw him, she had to tell him she didn't know when she would be back.
It just broke me up. We really hugged, and he was crying and I was crying. He seemed to understand. I kept telling him they don't want me to come in here anymore. So we cried. Then when I went home, it was so hard to go home. That was the last time I saw him.
Go up here a bit, Karen.
Powerless in a pandemic.
Okay.
Mike Walker can't visit his wife Karen anymore either.
Well, Karen, how are you doing today?
The facility she's in offers him an iPad to connect with his wife.
Just a new way of communicating for now. Better than nothing.
It's as close as he can get, and he's afraid for how long.
There you go. Come on, smile. We're getting there. My wife has dementia, so it's hard because you don't know how long it's going to be to the point where when I walk in, she just looks at me and has a blank face, or knows me or don't know me, and every day ticking along is another day that it's going to get worse. It's not a backward disease, and that's probably the hard part about it, knowing that every day is getting worse and worse and worse.
The ban on visitors in homes and hospitals is meant to protect the elderly from a disease that could kill them. Yet everyone at Baycrest is acutely aware of the toll loneliness can take.
Does it concern you?
Of course it concerns me, and it concerns everybody. We're always very mindful of our clients' mental health, and this is not great.
Dr. Adriana Schnall says it's why employees here helped organize this birthday party for a resident.
One family went outside of the window, and the residents stood inside, and they were all there, and they had balloons, and they celebrated. I call it a la COVID, like these are the times now. And it was so meaningful for everybody around.
And yet others can't wave from the window or don't have a smartphone. 85-year-old Stephen Parker was hospitalized with pneumonia a couple of weeks ago. His daughter Marianne Parker calls him every day.
Hi.
Hi.
But no one knows when this will be over, especially her father.
I'm very well. We're all keeping safe. And he said, you know, the hardest times are when you have all that time to yourself. You know, the 3 a.m. wake-ups where you lie there and imagine what's happening. And I think all of us would go down that route of imagining the worst and am I going to see anyone again, or is this it? Is this what I'm facing? And it's just, it's such a lonely place to be. Okay, Dad.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye for now.
The need to be with the ones you love, it's even stronger now. Vera's grandmother can't see well, and while music is a powerful bridge, Vera just wishes she could get even closer.
Be okay, Bobza? Yeah. Be okay? Okay. I have mixed feelings. It makes me kind of feel angry, to be honest. I'm not angry because they're taking precautions. I'm just angry when it comes to time, only because, you know, our time together is limited and I can't physically be with her. You know, my grandmother is 94 years old, and I feel like time has been taken away from us, especially at a time when she's so fragile. And so it's trying to keep a brave face during a time when there's crisis and trying to do what I can to bring her happiness, at least.
Even if she can only deliver that happiness from a distance. Joanna Rumiliotis, CBC News, Mississauga, Ontario.
Next on The National, our moment.
Not too many people reach out to their truck drivers.
The story of one restaurant owner and one community making a huge impact.
CBC Listen. Hear it all here. Download today.
Truck drivers say they're being refused service at some of the few roadside restaurants that are still open over concerns about drivers carrying and spreading the coronavirus. In comes Nova Scotia's Crystal Blair. She runs a restaurant just off the highway near the border with New Brunswick, and she's serving up free meals. She's even provided a place for drivers to take a shower. And her story is tonight's moment.
I'm a semi-retired trucker. Thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you very much. Right now, I'm trying to give these guys a hot meal and a place to shower.
The first warm meal in 11 days.
I'm gonna get a big sign for the door, leave your cash and your cards outside, guys, because they don't expect it for free. And I can't make them understand how much support that I'm getting. I tell them, listen, when we have to start charging, we will.
Not too many people reach out to the truck drivers. We're here to do our job, and, well, we appreciate what they do for us.
Everything's closed. They're the ones that are out there on the road, living in their trucks, trying to supply the world with essential goods. You know? What's gonna happen when these truckers say, I can't take this anymore?
So donations are rolling in to help pay for all of those meals. And it's a reminder of things that maybe didn't seem essential to a lot of us until the last couple of weeks. Truck drivers, for sure, but people who work in warehouses. I saw a cab driver today in Vancouver just waiting patiently for the next fare. And of course, in his case, you know, whoever comes in there is going to be sitting just probably less than 2 meters away. So a lot of people that we should be thankful for. That is The National for this Sunday, March 29th. Good night.